It's the President Muhammad the digitalization in fact the foundation of and anamiti a mampenia be the actually a launch be of some citizens app confusion I have been trying to understand what exactly they are trying to do, but answer no more be na President Muhammad build the Ghana.gov as Ghana.gov no it provide all these services all the including judicial justice system ni ya building ni nyina dada governance farmer ni nyina waso dada. And in this speech, you know, I saw somewhere say, "Oh, boss, say, oh, apart from more achievement in Ghana.gov, I'm say, Boamah, and trying to be beyond the do no. Ghana.gov was so muna mo de buy. Hey, now some cranny. And you know, na ya digitalization dear massa. Will be as a bio previasa. The economy failing no. One on yes or economists and economic whiskey that no the Bible save your money. And I go failing the new guase. And the whoopee baby are fun ordinary digitalization. But no crap no, he has not done anything outstanding. I bet you say Boamah the digitalization aba. And no me say as part of an achievement no can a mobile money interoperability. On the buy. One no mobile be mu no na ya na haruna idrisu
from bank to a momo.
Masa na haruna idrisu. Aye ade na to ho no dada interoperability aye ye ho adwuma. Na digitalization be na sense. In fact, digitalization be na sense ukra mobile network bi network. Na obetimi akono akosesa akwa another network the same number. Enye na buy. It is about digitalization crap they are dwarfed completely. Womu ni hwe, womu ni record bia to show. Wo de mi busa said them pa na e ade fofra MPP for the aba under digitalization.
As vice president, obetimi de sense ni bo aka na 33.
Omo boso.
Wetumi ayo as vice president na John Dramani Mahama as vice president wo mo ba kokora mo.
Na edru economy dia wo se enye Onua eno de eye Kufu Ado aban. But edru digitalization dia wo se Onua. It no or vice president for digitalization as a day. I think that Vice President Boamah said you enye make crabby view, but as a Ghana phone will say or a comedian. Sebio is not a serious person, else will be funny serious. Because on kind of crate. Drew had ya say a baby kakra achievement be ba Boamah na de buy be economy to pass am dia or say a driver's mate. And you know the tia kunya no a driver's mate. E jira na ya e hono de e mbogwo Tinumaya and say
MPP for say well, why you are campaigning because mo can say MPP ko yi Dr. Muhammad Boamah NDC won't campaign. Why you campaign?
I didn't say a campaign. About 1 year ago. About to be a campaign, 1 year campaign. And so we needed to do our campaign, and we are doing our campaign very well. We are running one of the most comprehensive, effective campaigns ever. And I'm sure wow. But unfortunately, MPP for your campaign there, but they have very bad products to market. When you're true na wakofa obinso a ombu ade ombu nipa abeka no ho now this appear we ekogina anima campaign bia baby amfa enti na MPP for campaign for mo ye campaign pa wo mo tu sikagum na so amfa because one amamu bone na wo de abeka candidate bone ho afa running mate bone na o run campaign bone you know what results do you expect to get? But if you look at the kind of pair that we have, President Muhammad Bema Sebio na dwemu da ho na ni da ho ahomprasie o nimdie o suahunu na ne running mate Professor Jena no Pukwadimai oba penny Sebio ahomprasie ani die wom obuo no ho okasa yie. I mean a woman of integrity. Now the abom now share the record of President Muhammad in the previous 4 years and sana MPP for besum now the toto ho and you be the better was say campaign no ya ye it in MPP campaign struggle nyina ne kofa bae no
right ye be frase we entete ho Ghana for ebeti achievement of John Dramani Mahama as vice and then the president of the republic and why you need to consider him 7 December 2024 maybe see here Dr. Mensama Okwaba
ya na na metesa na okapa de binsem
ane
na sisi apodi enso na omo de be woro ne kra so galam say sa nice ne makri nko a nti ni imagine say mercury ne cyanide na wo de wo ani asem kase
no asan ko fa cement paper
na the cement paper so afo so nti ni say nti na president Mahama say se nyame ya adom na 7 January so ani na pad the pad nkwala wo JHS ne secondary school dia wo mun to bi krada jembe ya deswa emom ebe ni free
be me bi nkoda da o nkoto pad ma o ne o nyem
intermediate general foundation for kra ho no kra no ma ho de no obetimi dia akokire ba bi foforo se de be ya president Mahama ebetimi aye sa Africa ye wa ba mu ebra na ye ma me professor Jena no Puku Agima ye minister ye started sa ade ma ya no mo eto ya yampia se o ye de akogisi ayi drone ye de koye ayi nyankoma de ntini ye ma amanfo free pad ne ne mo ba o mutwa mu eno ntini ene emba no ye nkwala no o moduru sa ayi mpempenso na wo mo bre ansa na o matimi enya clean pad e de ahwe o mo ankasa first bi ne ye nananom na o mo ba amonse na ye bo awia ne ya fa ne ahohoro sisi amonse ne kra ye nya bo ayi boroba ni so areho
ahumte so achievement of John Dramani Mahama as president or vice Eden
President Mahama achievement there me say enye obi enya afa ni ye ba be ka ho asem sabi o ye nyina ye to mamu ha ya so nsu aswansa na beshase ebubo
ebi kasa o mo hu fa so wo so ba wo de ne den da jubile ho a wo kofa
you see sabi o ise de o man hye wonsa ye de o man ne hye wonsa se bra na be pagya enipa no o mabra bomu na fefiri mpempenso e wo no e de kɔ mpempenso a wo mu eho beto na Ghana ya economy no ya chiche mu nkura bata bebre nti ye wo education ye wo health ye wo economy ye wo agriculture se o hwɛ saa nneɛma ya mabobɔ so nyina including ne membobɔ so ne kra a ebi wo hɔ no kra latent sectors like governance wo hwɛ ni nyina wo behu sɛ ye achievement ayeye no so staggering and outstanding ye nua no muntimi nye bi nti yen hyase ni yemfa ni free education for example so offer education ye wo various levels of education your preschool your primary education and your secondary education and your tertiary education so o hwe preschool education school a yesi ye under President Mahama nkwa be over 380 school preschool o primary school new schools I see here and the secondary school schools under trees I here almost 2,800 a new community we say amani tumpon na enipa migrate or create new settlements so as and when they create the new settlements you need to give them schools it's here by and the schools I were under trees almost about 3,000 but President Mahama abemu within that short period we were able to remove about 2,800. Menoka say schools under trees is hovering close to about 3,800 this year because over a long period of time new schools are coming, government is making no investments, and the reason why government is not making the investments and they say Oshe Abain Sikai Chatwoma education almost 90% of the allocation goes into free SHS. Not just say on the Akanin there is no investments. It's most of the schools particularly in the northern region. Primary school ne kromo trend ya na sia ko school ni wi JHS ni o eje se wo tu kwan kokro kase mu ansa na wakonya JHS enti no ntimi nko JHS enti dropout rate in the northern region of east upper west or average around 65%. Enti kwala no be kwa no ma drop e omo ntimi ento aso, you understand. So wo hwe secondary education under President Mahama yetimi HC secondary school diama bra ye free abem 2016 MPP4 ebe so mu no school placement no na available space ewo ho ne omo na omo wie school no na extra gap da ho no almost about 49,000 yenya nkwala nkom because ye invest in ye blocks no na yes ye be see 200 within 4 years you see almost 120 na yesi ye no me no ka say ye wie bi si ho no ma ya no ntimi mfa school kwala enkogu mu because e bi wo yes omo tonkunya gum ne nti a wo ntimi ntonkunya no inim besine maybe ye bia ada obesi anapo
schools no esi nwura mi bi kan afi free SHS na my enrollment na kwosoro sen time na mo te so
insem hu o mo keka
ye no this time mo pass papa mo time na mo pass de ba nei atwam isi aso wo hwe ma e course secondary school senior high no a wo mo ne member ratio na ye pe wo mo de stem aba
no and hono mo na wutia na wahu se aban no nka no kre adenti ne ye double track ne nti ye double track ne se classrooms ni ho ayedin kwala ne bekum na what ya say because classrooms ni yo enso no edan ni sisi ho sisi a still obi ankom school complete is and dan na odi nkonya ne koguma na nkan kwala ne benya school akọ ne nti a initially ne ye wo problem with the wholesale enrollment of free SHS and they say so we wholesale enrollment of free SHS now we need infrastructure na we benya sa problem na currently education system e common it's in the president Mahama say sa 120 blocks na yesi no ye no mainly day school enti no mama yenye free SHS no for day students no for starters said there be sa 120 schools na yesi no if even every school is taking about 1,000 now multiply by 120 how many 120,000 people said the beya sir day schools will be me afa additional 120 within a short time and they go to school for free whilst you expand build more schools in we are now if you want said see there when your excess gap no now if you what start wholesale free senior high school who start wholesale free senior high school you don't have to do double track all the students can be in school and run at the same time and no na President Mahama as part of your promises I in our manifesto and say see about double track no tinton tan ye betwam na nienti e betwam ya ye bi da obeka ya President Kufuor ofri abem no waye SHS 4 years na onsi dan ba akokra se bi block ba akokra won tonsi onom enso na nkwala no ye ba beji abem no omo call level omo call class form 4 form 4 no edan bi ani won betwam within 8 months you see new classroom blocks almost 494 new classroom blocks in all the institutions to accommodate the final year students. Emergency construction of those classroom blocks. And that is what we intend to do when we take over. Said the Bay and Kwalano Munina Beko Scoop. Now, and no Kodan chance of free SHS on your Tremako private senior high school. Meaning Crofobia are more private senior high school and then Kwalano Ubianco school. Because you say, yeah, free senior high school. A public secondary schools are. I didn't see there's a Mikutriaska aboarding. Now, me dem back up private school. Meanwhile, share schools are GD pass why public schools me wa. Until no more my investment. SC school die private senior school. Now, Munyankwala. It's President Mahama say free SHS. Necessary yen tremu private senior high schools. Say private senior high schools now. You benya additional space. Additional space no ebetimi aboa mankwala na ewie JHS na wefo mu nyina amoma
and maybe wonder how that would be done financially. How would you be able to support? Because anapay what say even what we have now almost a chunk of sika education ebetimi their infrastructure no ye dey free SHS
and I make you see metro be a problem no on that matter nintia yes say 90% no I will deal with that but nkwala e school anazo mo be wie JHS sia Sebio ebi free kuro bia so meka ho ana meboa wo mu nyina anya free SHS no mu ne yade omura mu but essence space ni onti ne ye double track ye form a ne aka no na sebio mu grade no wa akiri kakra no ye gya omo ajeje mu ye ma omo school but what this program is going to do ne say that same number na sisi aye Tremako private senior high school na ya te number na so free public senior high school no baby aye overcrowded no near the omako private senior high school. Well, we're paying for them anyway under the double track system. But also it gets the private business schools, the private senior high schools, also in business. So what we are trying to do is using one stone to kill two birds. And so any problem with cost. Now I was making a point about 90% of the allocation echo into
free
SHS. Are you aware that 90% they go free SHS? The amount eco feeding as part of the free SHS is almost over 70%. Feeding guan. So which means the biggest cost of free SHS is here feeding. And why is it so? It is because Abaye are centralizing the contracting of purchasing of food. And Ghana food in Nina ne koni pa base do ho. Sabi o yetimi importo emo eko yagaba kubori yedua mo etwa mo emo no gu warehouse yentimi enton mo no anas ye mele mo no enton e waste ni import mo na free China. Yetimi importo eto bayire free Accra e de kotachima. Baby edua bayire no ye ton bayire no ni ato bayire free ha ni e de ko. And so what we have said, they say the feeding program for free senior high school, they be come back to the communities so that they can be purchasing local food to re-engineer the local economy. So they be a local economy and so I pick it. Because that's how we used to run it. It was an area predominantly, no. That is what the school feed on to activate the local economy. You see, there are many peculiar busuafobi and our normal toy and normal. Even the distribution alone is another huge cost on the government. It's a idea. Yeah, I have been saying the science share the babani a year free. Now, why is I near way in now university? President Mahama wa bemu. You see, you has.
But
you
me go back to free SHS.
Okay.
You have a lot of investments or the TVETs. Because okay say about 90% of the budget allocation they go free SHS. So the 10% na akano is it no normal day TVET na
investments and I mean share down who be
TVET
want to mention some
TVET buildings of MCC across the
country.
Especially in Ashanti region, minimum crime, I think it's a 3 or 7
Ashanti but the 3 TVET centers will not.
No, make us a minimum crime. So
the 10% they have done some small things with it. Who say get fund seeker and care the education normal collateralizing in fact get fund estimated revenue this year 7.9 billion. They've collateralized almost 4 billion. 83.9 no mukra no na yet. It's no kakra bi beko baby. But what is supposed to go in there is not what is going in there. They could have done more with the kind of the kind of revenue now compared to the revenue that we got in government and what we were able to do. I've mentioned some of them, the schools under trees and all the senior high schools that we built, the universities and all that. It's nowhere compared.
But they introduced STEM education.
Oh, I mean STEM education introduction there. Na say no enya dion. We see school back on say STEM. We see me and say we introduce STEM. It's part of the progression. So Ghana Education Service policy. In fact, when we were in government, one of the things that we were trying to do at the time was to enhance science education, was to build science laboratories in every school. And then we know say science laboratories are now WOHO NDC Breso and the Rollins. Yes, setting up under President Mills, the President Mahama. Yeah, all those labs have collapsed. Maybe what a podcast because only
Minister won't agree with you.
Maybe
now will be a lot of science labs.
I mean that is most ridiculous. We are not there to we are you won't be. Maybe I follow because I'm into education as well. So I follow. Matthias here. Me what podcast. Me ne join in the course school Johnny Hughes. Na ye nyina science students. Na ye lab no. Ya wo de bia ne afabas ne ye course in Marys. Do laboratory what to say way a laboratory. In fact, in recent times, the last time I saw a laboratory in any of our secondary schools, I was sad. I mean, call back to St. Mary's, but I was so sad. Sebio test tube, crap, Eureka tube.
Wesley girls cry.
Wesley girls, but Wesley girls, are buying the sea.
Yeah,
buying the sea.
Why new science labs near there?
And so the investment has been very low. And you see, ABR more journalists for some more camera, any of the science laboratories and go and see. So there's some effort, but that effort is nowhere compared to what we did when we were in government. And I believe, say, as a government, we should invest more in that one. And yet, who invested me, I believe in science. In fact, I'm one of the people who have argued, so I say secondary school, crying jazz, courses, other courses, which were hard in general art. And I've argued, in fact, from 2016, I remember one of our manifesto committee meetings. Not Prof. WOHO. And I made this argument whereby one man standing. Giddy. Almost say no.
Yeah, science is fair.
Yeah, science fair. Into we JSS. Now we call a secondary school. I'll acquire science. Because the science gives you a foundation that positions you to do anything. And I'm an economist. But I did science. And it was so easy for me to migrate. Anybody who does economics or business or general arts cannot move and do science or do anything related to science. But what you say? But the science and maths positions you. And you see, as you do bachelor science and maths in the manner that the students and as and Kwalane and Philly say science in here doing too much, maths in here doing too much. Everybody is a mathematician. Everybody is a scientist. Elsewhere, other education systems, they focus more on the basics. Science is basic to everything. If it's visual art, science. So your visual art is science. Your general art, any of the arts, science. You understand? And so if you are able to build the capacity of Nkwalano in respect of science and maths, you have set them up for anything, any challenge,
free education,
any creativity. So what you say? Now me call tertiary education now.
Sure.
President Mahama and fear 9th. The emphasis is saying fear watch because now vice president near you. One on quantity the end of the university or the buy University of Sustainable Development. So manya. You understand? President Mahama and the buy. Yeah, the U has a buy. Yeah, the you nearby. In fear 9, Yembusa Yanum say University Ben or Modiaba. University Ben or Modiaba. Among Fabako cram by. Eco peace will fee, yes, say. Oh, Akuma Dine University. Yeah, the Ben almost has it. Maybe in fact, a dream.
Well, I mean,
oh, so no walk off our back. And the walk off our back. Update on the coffee by. But you see, and no Kodan apart from schools in Wusino, in Kwalano, is it affordable for them? Is it accessible for them? And on a President Mama said, you share money who say Kwalano do one to me pass secondary school. Kuraha woman to me Enko University. And me, I use myself as a typical example. Me try 3 years after secondary school, even though I was the overall best student, before I was able to enter into the university. Because I didn't have anybody to pay my fees. You understand? How I finally entered the university, my story now, you understand? Yeah. And so there are so many like me who don't have the support to go into tertiary education. So what we are saying is that Nkwalane baby secondary school now pass admission to university. So school fees na your barrier. So school fees na year free. If you don't admission, one is obeko school, no akosanya on krata, no register, no.
But you will be paying school. A lot of money, and only be where you are finding the money because free SHS, almost enrollment, no cost.
Me chere oni nyina. Ma person what policy na se answer. Na ma chere baby and this can be free.
Right.
So what you say? It no saka admission letter na no akọ register, no start school. No fee stress. No fee stress. Now near be sa school fees ni nyina no aban na ba betua amount through the student loan scheme. Eti no ye discount be ma student loan scheme no wo na mu register e bia ya registration we ni per register 1,000
for the first year
ni atua says can amount. Si atua ma wi a subsequent years no after 1 year no na wa sisi a wo school no mu eniema na wanya kwan se ufiri poor family wetin ya apply student loan. Na student loan no sisi a no ne be ne say ye the mawa student loan in a manner that can pay your fees. Me ba cho what ya say. It is who apply for student loan so na be tua your fees na. It tua direct to the university. Me ba cho what ya say. It enya afa na student loan delay exams time eduru na ye pamu free exam hall. Yes we tua school fees o se me twa student loan there be. So the obligation
it
of
means
paying
that the first year fees is
grant. I know your grant.
Okay, free.
I know your grant. I know your free cra. Now udu for level 200 to 400 now. We fees in there can use student loan. It's no now register student loan now. Student loan no see the payment of the fees obligation now but that student loan. So it's student loan be tria to the university. It's no school no emba won change be say between school fees for the rest of the years. Because we register for student loan. I just say be a free if you are a kakra woman on between your fees amount also won't pay student loan. And no wow for any between amount. But so we need our condition now register student loan now. School no new problem be about school fees. Until in essence no 4 years ni nyina no who go school without any fee stress 4 years ni nyina
na
who we school afa wo student loan na wo je ye no abo ape so wunya adwuma obi amba mbechesiu wo start adwuma ya tene kakra ye gidi says yetimi ye saade we a ebe boa Ghana for do ama ye nya quality education ama sebio ye human resource capacity no.
Now, how do you reconcile the payment of the school fees with the public schools and the private schools at the same time? Now, private universities
in count. Private for now, not dear. Private universities in count. For now, public universities in Kwan. And yes,
a lot of these students find themselves in the private
universities.
But you see, that is the point. So the for now, for starters, public universities, you know. Now, nursing training for any all the other institutions, and then maybe course amenya obi fees what they call a technical university or yamwa admission edru by 16 first or we need scar what they call, and we get this on daily basis. If I open my WhatsApp, you see it on daily basis. But all this stress would be taken off.
Would you bring back that loan system for the nursing and teacher training?
No, the loan system, it should be available for everybody. It should be available for everybody. And I remember, you see, Ghana.
No, me can't say allowances.
Amanyo 71. 70 biba ya into ya bunti mu. Obekaya 2016. All that we were saying was that we wanted to make the loans available to all tertiary institutions, including teacher training and nursing training for. And we believe that the loans would help them even more than the allowance, which doesn't come. Even though the allowance is a grant, it hasn't come. And it's so and as our allowance in yet number. But this time around, what we are saying is that the loans will be available for them anyway. As grants and then I had more money but the loans will also be available so that after first year they can also have that no fee stress comfort of using the student loan to pay for the rest of the years. But what you say and you know say yes I dey we I did say e be yi pressure e free awofo so e be ma awofo ho be hen han omo sika anka omo de be they can do other investments.
What plan do you have for the pre schools? No, secondary before me secondary near there because a teacher for be say I say any no ye de kwasro ye jankwala no actually.
No correct. Say enye NDC na Nyankopon de omo che Ghana na nka preschool ya de anka ya tuma jeje mu kra. Because aban ibai for the in fact I have been trying to research how many new preschools have been built, and it's very, very difficult. In fact, most of the schools no musi free class 1 to class 6 into particularly the northern sector. School no mu start free class 1 or trefia edwa near the nakujina class 1 into kujina okra afi no be start here choro start here kenkan. You understand? Because we have invested less in that area. But also a manifesto numa. We have a comprehensive program for early childhood education. And advanced countries like China and India, early childhood education, the focus of the training is not about what the things that we teach even in our early childhood education here. Oko China, for example, in Kwalano preschool omwana yechiro omo ekwan omo nua omo aduane
I saw it on social media.
You have seen that. Those are the things that develops the minds of the kids faster. It's obedru class 1 now why very independent and he's able to do almost everything tax that you give them. And so those are the kind of comprehensive system we are trying to employ from a preschool honomo. Said ebetimi abuild in Kwalano in a manner that they can have a smooth transition in primary education. So what you are saying. Apart from the issue of access and the quality and the learning materials, which has also become one of the biggest challenges of this government. Yeah, the new curriculum about 5 years in the textbook
compulsory sexuality education.
Yeah, mo tro to ho kran so mo kra ba begene ho de
na poasem the list said about him the better na po de say atase na achi no so obi abonedue o obi ehun no
Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe. Former Minister of Education.
I think say Obiabo Nidia.
Minister of Energy.
Because you see, since since Napo got selected there, Napo no. Obiye bibi.
Say.
If you fuwe no.
Na mo ko de curriculum about no asema o say Obiabo.
If you fuwe Napo no mo she kambu. Me yeso say omo nante kro omo nante latest form so. Omo ba anti omo nka. Because what is happening to Nakoi?
And the campaign no womo.
No. Alano ni video bi amhwe mesre ya atifri akonyam beto form. Na wakogina ba bi se. Wakogina ba bi se eyi NDC ba ye police station ye wo hanyina motom NDC ba ye omonya hwe na ye ba na microphone start ye. Dabi mu nso mu de amonya hwe kra. Na kwe adwa. Ni buafu no de mic na to no. Napo badia fa napo asem nto nchen comprehensive sexuality education napo na ene kofa bae etino Ghana fo nyina wo mo support to MPP in fact wo mo support to MPP wo mo say napo ye minister of education po no the gain say mo bankwala education mu no wa be vice president ne bobo ye mba no afi no mbesua gain ye nankasa em say na what say mo ye demonstration about say gains and some no nti no ni nyina no obi a otie bia no ohun bebi afiri na nke ba ne sen enua ne sen na amben ene yakọ parliament apase mra wo bi president odi ane se obesan wo se case bi ni number bi case ne kra president announce ye na case ni nkoduru court president ka say case bi pende no na case ni nkoduru court ye nti no let's put all those things aside. Let's come back to the issues.
Yeah, quite Greek. In a Greek, planting for food and jobs. Are they buying the buyers or be work here for? Or share Dano Minister and Komoa or boy, yeah, Brian a champ or say, I buy ye in a book here for papa, or raise the car or the ama woman and saying, yeah, the per tongue, yes, and get what.
Yo,
Sissy Befu.
Yo,
and yeah,
that's a kind of way. That's kind of way. And I am, be cocoa and nisuka cruncher. Say, Oshe Ghana, one of the key sectors are Emma Ghana nya forex pie cocoa. In 2017, Ghana enya $2.8 billion every cocoa. 2018, enya $3.2 billion every cocoa. Free 2018, abayin we ankasa ne ye starting ma cocoa edwendel ye. Apart from price, I know more increase for almost 4 years. Na MPP for increase cocoa price. And so na cocoa price e kosoro. Apart from eno, cocoa no ye yo. Ene se omo betwa no ba no dodo no. Enjina sebio wo de wano fafa ebeka se o mebua cocoa sebio se de mpanifo kan no wo de wano don re a ebi wo. But cocoa ye sa. It takes real effort. Say ohwe input sector a wo cocoa mo ye ka input a. Seedless no wo mo bedua ene adura wo mo de begu so spray nya wo mo be spray so how agriculture we friend cultural practices how wo mo manage cocoa na amana koduru bra ye beti cocoa no eno ena ma cocoa eso wo hwa cocoa no from that time 2018 there no which was an effect of what we had done in government before leaving power wo hwa after that time the cocoa no yield no as what and last year even the real cocoa yield Cocoa Board was not able to tell us. In actual fact, the real cocoa yield for last year was 350,000 tons, the lowest in about 40 years. Meneuka say afi your cocoa obligations we are falling short by almost 300,000 metric tons. Your cocoa obligation aban we buy any omo ye
say why they are having some issues.
Na maybe chira oni ntie sa.
Gal me say for ajo mo
aban we
any ade nti ama ai bibia wo ho.
Na na ya. Was asem the cram mo the galamsi abefra.
But so omo ntire mu na.
But we dey ma me come free baby me fe free. Unze cocoa no say okodwa man so na okoton a ye spot price every day bia no based on demand and supply. International Cocoa Exchange for demand and supply ni determine price of cocoa e wo hono mo na ye other financing arrangement be so a friend of forward sales. It made me a next year me produce cocoa bears 1 million metric tons. So 1 million metric tons on me percent me ton ma in advance. It no me ye forward sales. Say the be me track cocoa na me dia brew. Ghana ye forward sales are ye forward sales and I think 5 years ago. And ye ton cocoa no it was $3,200 per ton. $3,200. And then ukodwa mine so cocoa 1 ton. In fact, as at 3 months ago, now forward sales near $9,600.
Say no to me a hedge. Say be ya obedi scanner
but in the men I said and one I make hedge and I say and you're hedging, but your friend forward sales 1 ton ahead. I say supply. 3,200 no sisiano e 9,600. 9,600 uti 3,200 free ma e kai. Almost $6,400 additional amount, and we have locked ourselves in this long-term forward sales. We are not able to take advantage of the current cocoa prices. And then stock main check this week the spot price, but the spot price the last time I checked was almost $6,900.
So they call peking crying.
Yes, peking crying. It will show ma nanka ye ton cocoa even spot price sabi you nanka cocoa bottle back nanka bottle back kon ke ton the best 5,000 Ghana cedi
by en ton ye de sada say ye call the spot price
no ye ton spot price ye ton ye in fact your time ya toss spot be brave and ye forward sales so ya 1 year. So that you can take, so you are able to do the actuarial analysis. It will be every to me your estimation, no, a forecast and they say, I feel we no cocoa bobe kosoro sabowe. Until even when you go to the international market, because of the quality of our cocoa and how competitive we are able to even negotiate our own forward price. You understand? We have lost that space. It mean negotiating your own forward price. It's in our cocoa farmers, no. Si kan ke ese ye de mom enye ho afekra na ye de mom afi o mo convert we are no
so how they are paying better prices than you did.
They are not paying better price, absolutely not, because you see MPP for again they be no mo yesese bi o yetiewu nti no they do all kinds of analysis to confuse us. So osha price na wo de ma no wo ye relativity analysis, you index it to inflation, then you see whether sika na wo de ma Ghana for no, what is the real value? Your friend no purchasing power parity. So what you say? It no be sika no now de Ghana ni no, and then betimi aso no. What is the rate to the dollar? So what you say? Some no convert it to the dollar. How much was it? Because most of the things we consume here are imported. You always use the dollar as a reference. That's the only way you can do a better analysis. And when you do that analysis, you will see, say, the MPP for them farmers, no pittance. That's why they are not producing. Now, every farmer, question of Nakohe, cocoa farmers, so one farmer, a galamse niyama na bitua. One can say, Chegu, a baby before fro. Sisi a bid rubber, if a rubber, pan or mudia pan. Because cocoa is profitable. Inputs are obey you soon a boarding. And I want my inputs in the boarding. Abeya. You understand? So there's no conscious effort by government, one, to look at the real challenges are frustrated farmers, which is mainly the input.
What is the plan?
Now, assassino, will be a food wako do enyumre, wako de few, and no power best or yabana galamsey machines here for no. Assassino, how do you think that farmer will be motivated to come and plant cocoa? And nothing a year the nako form. Eti na me ka kosi se ene cocoa yield akofom nyina ma yentimi meet international obligations. It is directly the work of government, the failure of government, the incompetence of the managers of cocoa board. And ama ye do some so we. And so we need a government that understands cocoa rehabilitation. Cocoa ni bi nyia eduru pempenso bia. Esi ye twa ni edua foforo.
Which government is doing now?
Cocoa rehabilitation. Cocoa amuchegu ye nyina be 2-3 years ago. Besi ne ebi wo ho a wo munya seedlings. Last time I was having an interview somewhere. Somebody called me. Say ye twa ni cocoa egu 2 years ago. Besi ne seedlings ni bi kura ni ho. This government is not able to produce the seedlings. Just seedlings. Within 1 year, you distributed 20 million seedlings in 2015. 20 million seedlings. And it is sad 20 million cedilings, no, a home fast one year channel, a 2018, and here hit almost 1 million metric tons. That's the work that we did continuously for 3-4 years. Now we're averaging 1 million metric tons. 2016 year free abemu, 986,000 metric tons.
Planting for food and jobs.
10 year abedru. Planting for food and job, planting for ubi enim senka planting the echrese udua. Udua na ya ubetwa ana abeboa.
Say ya twa.
Na ye dia na so aduane ni ye ntwa da.
Is it a good policy?
Aduane boa ye den. What is a good policy?
Planting for food and jobs.
The indicators of a good policy is the outcomes of the policy, not the name of the policy. Ni MPP for no is just empty sloganeering. No results. Free no, but why? We were doing agriculture program. In fact, Megasip was one of the major flagship agriculture program and and one of my best is sending in a planting for food and jobs. It's just empty sloganeering. The policy was there. In fact, we got $150 million from Canada to invest in 2017 before we were leaving. I don't know changing any planting for food. It's just empty sloganeering. And never seen it. Me no say. Me demand the answer me per policy document for planting for food and jobs. My co-ministry wa kwa tata omo enra ena me tie ena abrantie bia oye adwuma ho ena wa small girl ba ko no wa send am me report for planting and food and jobs one me die chire in fact I know the security document they are not allowed to give the report report me who ye
you know say small girl
there be no a regulation or framework for two no no nye report but report ne the outcome how we perform besine a security document yes me inform obia what will be that one with the report
but former minister bekan faswa ye nya ho
and by one report and nya faswa
or dey na butcher se banche
when ya na ko dwa so me dey me ntan ko me wife ne ko nti no ne na minister ne ka no ukoto odwam ho
body that's a body there
ukoto odwam ho
body ne dey say
it wan koto eti no na make say planting for food and jobs no ka plant ya e say dani food na say jobs but planting ne ya and so food number.
So what's the policy of John Mahama when it comes to agric?
There be una alcohol planting for food. But me be mu una alcohol buy. And now we busa see e be twem.
Aka 4 minutes.
Me patch 4 minutes in the so because planting for food. Planting for food and jobs no. Enya policy. And enya policy aye ba be case ye be planting for food and jobs no. It's just the name. So we'll drop that because there is even no policy framework for it. Even the one has no policy framework. But what we are bringing, your friend agriculture for economic transformation. Under the agriculture for economic transformation, you were feeding the Ghana program. Feeding Ghana program, no. The main policies I was here no farmer services center. Yaka farmer services center. You say the biggest problem input sources. Input affordability, input accessibility. It will be one cry input no per cry, brands and obinian. When you so any board and then untiminto, into no where Jim Kayono say obey 10 acres. No, I want it because Nisi Council. Trata untiminfa. It President Mahama say, you share every agro district agro zone near set up the farmer services center. Farmer services center ni be one stop shop for all our agricultural needs. It's unya charter ama na dua asase ne so ene charter edu 1 acre bia 500 Ghana utie yi a obenya no 450 Ghana sa charter no na amanfo tua 500 Ghana no yesi ye de si farmer services center ho egu ho wokọ a na wakobuku ni akodwu asase so am esan say ya aban die nti no 500 Ghana na private for ne je no endru sa nti yemfa ne say aban na eye nti no aban ate so say ehu into no tua be say 200 Ghana. So 200 Ghana now we tua unya say we tua no fiscal cash immediately if you don't have the cash. It no ba wasa see 5 acres. Abaya fa tractor no wakodwa ama. So 5 acres no calculate e be 1000 Ghana. Ya chiro udi na ya farms 1000 Ghana for tractor services. Wo do tractor ni wie ye no. Unya seats. Seats ne so ne bodendendendendendend. And a problem back up was seats no crab ni say near one market dwaman so ni nyina no quality no a problem. Emma aban no in fact Ministry of Education Food and Agriculture and care so the quality of the seeds that are coming in. That department is almost collapsed now. There is even a brewing scandal. Sisi amino ka say omo the seats ne ba krapo a aban nan kasa na mpanifo na the seats ne ba wo mu twa fa ho enko through approval processes enko mayen test seats and say seats ne viable to be planted in Ghana.
That's serious.
Every sovereign
what
country,
you just said is serious.
Every sovereign country, what is so important to them, even America, okoha ye cheku no munim niema pa omo check seats. Say wo de aduaba bi ba or na say wo de aduane bi ba omo enuma. Very, very important because it has to do with food sovereignty. Oman yet ya ma aban nan kase e complicit. Suppliers na ya aban penifo no mudi seats no twa smuggling ebe mu a enko through approval processes. But that is another matter we'll deal with, the quality of the seats. Eti no yin seats wa farmer services center wa seats no ho. Unya condemner chemicals no ho. Unya fertilizer no wo obetimi ato ni nyina wo. These are guaranteed quality products aban no ena edeba sa farmer services center ho. Eti seats ni na unkre sika na obeto a yebema o seats no na wako do udo wi bi a seats na auto ani nyina ya 500 Ghana mebo 500 Ghana and na me kire say
because there are so many indicators showing say Ghana ni obo no bosi a ebe wi ase na ne tua na
yet. Na me chant umbo ne besia
it's not by way of money, one man service which they are supposed to pay.
Na na onum kwan no fufuo no ye ma osika na ye wo bibia ye frɛ no diversion of resources. We ye discanning ma na ye ndi wachi a umfa nkoye kuayo no. Ye de ma osefa koye kuayo. But this time ye ma osika no. But we are giving you all the inputs on credit. And so nana ya farms what be tractor services 1,000 ya amount seeds 500 unya agrochemicals ahe ya the amount unya fertilizer ya the amount uwie so extension services for no mu di akire hwe say obe apply ni ye uwie na utwa onoba ya na watwa no uton a udi scanaba. But even farmer services center no ye use sa center na they solve the issue of market. It's no farmer services center na warehouse you be see warehouse account. Eti no twa we bro 10 bucks and as we twa 100 bucks. Wa beje tractor ni ye kan nyina boma 2,000 Ghana. Na we twa 100 bucks o de ba warehouse wa ye crowd say obeton na ho no ma ye beton ya ma osika. Ni ati sika na free mu. Se onye crowd say obeton a ye hwe 10 bucks no wa ye no emu 10 bucks emu 100 bucks now emu 10 bucks ebe so kana ordinary na buy na product no without taking the money. You can store your maize. We are ready say obeton maybe I want to take advantage of peak season. And as a season be abone be kosoro. You are allowed. So you keep your product aban agene de aban de na waje no ekrapo no can go into school feeding programs in these arrangements we nyina. So government does not lose anything, but you bring so much comfort to the farmer beyond sa warehouse no. Obeka say 2016 ye launch bibi a friend Ghana commodity exchange. Ya anuma be ngongran say omo ye commodity exchange no ye hu baby exchange ne koso. But the farmer services center would also be an avenue for that commodity exchange. Eti me twa bro mi we bro 10 bucks. Me pese me deje bayere. And one say hono sa exchange no ebetimi akoso. You provide that market for that exchange to go on. And so we believe says our farmer services center way and it's been practiced in advanced countries. We offer food security very seriously. And government will not lose. How much?
Because we are under IMF at the moment. Resources or funds availability of funds adding where you get the money, all these things, education, whatever, blah blah blah, that 24-hour economy, all the things that His Excellency has mentioned. So where would we find the money?
The biggest problem of Ghana is misapplication of money, corruption. Misapplication of money and corruption. And you may be one man, and one baby one man, you too immediately would be able to free up resources immediately for all these things. Because most of you can collateralize it, and you loan in advance. If we are able to decollateralize most of our assets, we would have enough money to do this. But even let's assume Sikana or current money now planting for food and jobs. How much did they budget for planting for food and jobs this year? They budgeted, I think, 1.8 million, 1.8 billion. If we are investing truly the 1.8 billion in planting for food and jobs, what the end for 1.8 billion no and share tractor to you, yen to tractors and your machines no. agriculture is the only investment that when you put money in, you don't fail.
Right. Memra so no number apa ho sima e9. Dr. Otokunor. I ene twetwe nkobo no kasa ema eye NDC me eba ne manifesto a agric sector. Entina wo
next time me start agric ne first. Ene ma ni bebre wo ho no ma.
Ah so to make. Say campaign mu gu so. Enti ebepe brefo fro na afi yatiesi agric ne mu proper.
Na because your mind be atumpom bia.
Efa say na wo twese ne. Ebepe unya bre na obetimi aba.
Say na me nam dotto bia say.
Sa wo ye campaign. Ebre so anu aba na edi nkomo.
Onua 95.1 FM. Yeah, Junemo.